do to repair the Blackberry 9900 is to take off the bottom cover, which is below the keyboard. So you do that by placing a small flathead screwdriver into this small hole which is in the bottom right hand corner. So just slide it in there, lift it up and insert your fingernail at the far end, as you can see on the image, and then slide the screwdriver gently along the bottom. Be careful not to scrape the bottom bezel, and just gently slide along to detach the plastic cover from the glue underneath, and just gently move along, and be careful not to scratch the bezel, and just slide along until it comes off in one movement at the end there. So that's that off. Let's go move on to the next stage. The next thing you're going to need to do is remove the two silver screws at the bottom. So there are only 6 screws, but just take your Torx screwdriver and undo those and put those safely to one side. All the screws are colour coded. There are only 6 of them in the Blackberry, this particular Blackberry, so just unscrew them and put them one side. We're now going to remove the keyboard. So using a flat-headed screwdriver, put it in the centre of the 3 holes in the bottom left hand corner and lever it down at the angle shown on the film, and take your plastic opening tool or the spudger and place it underneath and just slide it around the edge nice and gently. It's quite robust, so don't worry about it. Twist it around a bit until you'll feel the clip pop up on the right hand side. Just slide it around to the other side and the other clip will pop up. Take the screwdriver out, and then underneath you'll see the cable which attaches the keyboard to the motherboard. So I'll just lift that up. There's the cable which is connected to the motherboard. Just take your plastic opening tool again and then unclip it and remove and detach the keyboard. We're now going to remove the 2 black screws with the Torx screwdriver, which are just beneath the screen. You'll see them. So just quite simply unscrew them and put them to one side when you've done that. Using that Torx screwdriver, again, just take your time, put those to one side. They're all colour coded, so the silver, black and gold ones coming up next. So just put them to one side so it's nice and easy to follow. Take those out and put them to one side. So that's that done. You'll see now you can just slide the screen down using your fingers like that, and you'll reveal the 2 gold screws at the top. Now we're going to remove the 2 gold screws at the top with this same Torx screwdriver. Just unscrew them, put them to one side as normal. I use a pair of tweezers to remove these in a second. They're quite useful because it's quite fiddly to get your fingers in there. So just unscrew them nice and gently, and then once you've done that, with a pair of tweezers or with your fingers or just tipping it the Blackberry over, remove the screws and put them to one side. So we're now going to remove the rear case. So with the screws undone, the back will just come off. So you see it will just come off in one movement. It's got the battery in there as well. I didn't take the battery out, but just put the battery in the rear case to one side. And we're going to take our plastic opening tool or spudger and undo the ribbon cable which is connected from the bezel to the motherboard. So just flip that up. That's in the bottom lower left hand corner when you're facing the rear of the Blackberry. Undo that. Turn it over and you'll see the bezel now come off. So slide the screen out, you'll see the screen will just pop out like that. Put the bezel to one side, and now you're going to remove the broken screen. So you can see it's attached by a ribbon cable to the motherboard. So just slide it out, pull it out gently, and then remove that. That'll just pop out, and there you have the old screen removed. You're now going to need to attach the new screen, so just do in reverse. what you just did with removing the old one. So using your finger, you're going to attach the new screen into the socket on the motherboard. So just flatten it down a bit so you can get access to it easily, and then use your finger or a spudger, just slide it in. Now it's quite robust, so just slide it in with your finger now, and that'll just get it in, edge it in bit by bit, and until it will go no further. But just with a bit of patience, just gently slide it and maneuver it in with your finger, and you'll see it'll go in when it won't go any further. That is the cable in place. So just with a bit of patience, as I said, just take your time and put that in there. And that is the screen attached. So that's that in there. So what we're going to need to do now is put the screen back into the bezel. So this is can be a little fiddly, but just maneuver the bezel around the screen so it'll just slide into it. So you'll see it'll just slide up and down when it's in place. So just fiddle around a bit until you can get the screen above those two center screw holes. So slide it on one side, you'll see then it'll just slot into place. So just take your time, be patient. You see in a second, you see that's now in place. So there you go, that's now in the bezel, nice and gently. And what we're going to do now is attach the bezel back to the motherboard. So take a plastic spudger and push the ribbon cable on the outside, so then turn it over so you can attach that ribbon cable back onto the motherboard. So just pull it out and with your finger press it back onto the motherboard, and that will be the bezel and the screen reattached to the Blackberry. So that's in place. Just check it's nice and firmly down, and turn it over, and we'll get ready for the next stage. So make sure the holes are lining up for the screws, and that will be ready for the next stage now. We're now going to attach the rear case. So make sure the screw holes are lined up, and then get the rear case, and you'll see where all the screw holes are on the rear case, so you can see where they need to line up. So then place the rear case down on your surface, and turn the screen and bezel over and place it on top of the rear case, and then just make sure everything lines up and is square. So check around the edges to make sure the bezel and the rear case are all square against each other. And then we're going to add in the new screws, the gold screws. So just place the gold screws back into place. Screw those gently, don't over tighten them because you can strip the threads. So using a pair of tweezers is quite handy because it's quite fiddly in this particular location. As you see, I keep dropping it, so I'm going to turn it around and do it from a slightly different angle so get a better approach. And then screw that down into place. And then you can slide the screen back up so those gold screws are covered up, and we'll move on to the next stage. With the gold screws now in place, we're going to put the black screws in which hold the screen in place. So just take a pair of tweezers or use your fingers and place it into the hole, and then screw that into place nice and gently. Again, don't over tighten it, but just nice and firmly screw those black screws back into the two holes. We're now going to reconnect the keyboard, so just take the keyboard and get the ribbon connector and place it over the clip on the motherboard, the slot on the motherboard. Click it home in place, make sure it's firmly in place and square, and then just place the keyboard down, start on one side of it, and place a clip in to the so the near side on the camera. Put the two slots underneath the rear of the screen, the bottom of the screen, press the one clip on one side, press it down so it clips on the other side, and that's your keyboard back in place. So it's quite straightforward. Now we're going to get the silver screws and put those back into the holes, and then we'll finally put the plastic cover over the bottom of the screws to cover it up, and that'll just clip back in place. So just quickly screw those in place. And then you'll have your Blackberry 9900 back in working order. You may need to give it a quick charge, but that is a fairly straightforward operation to replace the screen on a Blackberry 9900. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do let me know if you have any questions, and if you have any you need to know which tools I used and where I got the screen, then please use the description at the bottom underneath. So that's the two silver screws back in place. Now just put the black cover over and click it back into place and just smooth it down, and that is your repair completed.